as I look to the horizon, not a cloud, I've been storming with a still too cold. Seems like it crept up out of nowhere, all around you is not what you foretold. You never see it coming. You see that my mind is too fast for eyes. You're done. By the time you see you, you're not surprised.
Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. This is DSP News. Ladies and gentlemen, we're here with Mr. Stuffs, Dspgaming, addressing Rambo, Howard, and Respect the Pact. Haven't had a chance to watch the video yet. Shouts out to the Jackal's Lair, who actually shot me a message and asked if I'd be interested in going over this, and he sent me the link. So here we are. Also, shouts out to Memology as well as D. I've been binge watching your channels over the last couple days. I love what you guys are doing. And as it pertains to the video at hand, apparently Phil is going to give us some further clarity on the business relationship between Rambo, Howard, and Respect the Pact. I saw about 5 minutes of it, and then I decided, okay, I'll just wing the rest of it because it'll probably be just much more entertaining that way. And we'll see if we can hear some bitterness out of him. We'll see if we'll pick up anything that we didn't already know. We'll see if we learn something new. I'm anxious to see how he decides to throw these guys under the bus, but should be interesting nonetheless. Ladies and gentlemen, this is DSP News, always late, never breaking, unreliable coverage that you can't count on. A GTG network and productions. Y'all know the slogan, so watch me work. And remember, it wasn't DSP's fault. They should have told him. They should have told him they wanted money. The monies, as they say. As I pick up my bag of tropical Skittles, here we go.
With Project 7, come on. The whole thing was one big running fart joke. It was great. I no lie, I just watched it the other day. It just, by complete randomness, I found the car. By complete randomness, it showed up in my related videos. I was like, what the fuck? And I watched it. I was like, wow, this episode is still great. I still stand by the fact that show was good. And it would have been great. It would have gotten better and better the longer that it went on. Because the ideas we had. Like I said, the horror world, and then we had like the fantasy kingdom with Zelda shit. I had a whole episode based around RPGs and Zelda that I had written in my head. That show would have been great, man. It would have been great, but sadly, people weren't honest with me about what they were looking for out of it. That's the problem, I was completely honest with everyone up front about everything. And what I was told by the people working on the show was a lie. They said they didn't want money. They said that they just were looking for popularity on YouTube, and so as long as I promoted their stuff and they got plugs during the show, that they didn't care about money or nothing like that. I was like, okay. And then years later, they tell behind my back telling people, oh, Phil never offered us money and never paid us for Project 7. Like, yeah, you never asked for it. You told me up front you didn't want any. So you basically lied to me, and then basically made the whole show cancel because you didn't want to put in the work when you didn't get the popularity you wanted on YouTube. That's your fault. That's not my fault. I promoted you just like you wanted. You wanted money, you should have asked for it. You didn't. You told me you didn't want it.
Now, where's the human decency at in this? Because, Phil's a human being. Okay. With time, preparation for scenes, lighting, camera fixing, as well as positioning, and then just the time these guys had to take off from work or other paying gigs and things of that sort, especially as the episodes were going on. Phil should have been able to see the room and understand, you know what, this is a lot more work than we thought. I mean, come on, Phil, this wasn't you guys with some shitty little handy cam recording a screen or something. This was taking real time and real effort with multiple people having to come in and make this happen. You didn't think a couple episodes in, you know what, hey guys, maybe I should, maybe I should offer to throw a couple bucks at you guys, to throw a little bit of money at you guys for some compensation. Sure, they were getting plugs throughout the project and so on and so forth, whatever. But how about some just immediate kind of financial substance, satisfaction even? Human decency. You know what I mean? Even people in your own community, Phil, could understand that. Yeah, at first it was probably just going to be, hey, just give us shout outs, promote us, so on and so forth. But as you saw what was really going into this, what was really going into this, you had to realize, wow, this is a lot more work than I thought. And these guys are working around the clock with edits and things of that sort. You know what I mean? John's taking all this time. John and Howard are taking all this time off from work, so on and so forth. Maybe I should consider, cutting them in financially. At least axing. But you're like, oh, well, you guys don't want no money. If you don't want no money in the beginning, you don't get any money, later on down the line. You sound like an extremely selfish son of a bitch to say something like that. And at least two of these guys are supposed to be your friends. And the other one, RespectThePact, is the friend of one of your friends. So, what are you thinking, Phil? These guys were going to come in and essentially do the majority of the work, and then you were just going to profit and just give them some shout-outs and that's it? Even if that didn't help build their reputation on YouTube, you should have been willing to compensate them in some way, shape, or form. Just out of human decency. That's, I guess.
It's just so sad because that was the thing that it could have blown up into something great. It could have ended up being a really great series that had multiple seasons and shit. We could have had a partnership that ran years and years, but whatever. Again, it's just another case of me being honest and upfront with everyone, and everyone just being shady and fucking underhanded to me and not being honest and upfront with me, and then shit blows up because of it. It's like, what can I do? I was being honest the whole time. Yeah, see, King of Hypocrisy did a 25-bit cheer and says, Howard...
Now, another thing is the fact that, if I remember correctly, one of the members of RespectThePact was about to be a father, if I remember correctly. And so, if this wasn't going to essentially have some financial compensation, being that he has a child on the way, he just wasn't going to be able to do it. So, because of that, and I'm sure that was addressed to you, given that right there is a big happening in someone's life that they might want to be like, hey, if I'm putting all this time in, not just in the filming and the setup for scenes and all this, that, and the third, but also in the editing aspect. I know you don't know anything about that film, and I'm not very good at it either, so it's whatever. But even in the editing aspect of it, despite how it might, some of the scenes may have looked, some scenes look better than others, it took time to do that. It took time to make stuff like that happen. And yet, you really just expected them just to be dogs. Mush! Psh, psh, essentially. And just take whatever little scraps you decide to throw at them. And then you have the nerve to sit there and say it was their fault that Project 7 failed. That it got canceled. Like this was some type of real show or something. Multiple seasons? Are you... Stop. Because the more people you bring into a project like that, the more money you would have started to cough up money. And trust me, you wouldn't have paid it. I doubt it. You would have paid that. And you definitely wouldn't have. Because shoot, man, how many people were on some of those early episodes? There's at least 6 people. 5 or 6 in some of those episodes, maybe 7. Especially the episode with that dude who did the Metal Gear Solid fart powers and all that crazy shit, and then all the minions and all that stuff. So you got to include OJ, whoever that guy was. There was a couple other random minions in there too. You're going to have to start really paying people. And I think that's why you wanted to drop it. Because you knew you weren't going to be able to compensate all these people. And you saw what kind of work that went in. And you were hoping that, oh, they'll just kind of do it out of the graces because, oh, it's poor Phil and I got to do this online. I have to work online and whatnot. And it's so much harder for me. You guys actually have paying jobs, or I would assume. And so, you guys are just trying to help me out. You guys are supposed to be my friends and just be there. Until they get on your nerves, and then you just were like, "Hey, that's on you guys. It's your fault." Are you serious? Let's continue.
RespectThePact asked you for money, and when they didn't get it, they quit. 100% a lie. That's 100% false. When I first met with RespectThePact about Project 7, they told me up front, and this is the God's honest truth, we don't want money. We're not looking for money. What we want is to have our own YouTube presence and to have our own YouTube channels blow up. So what we would like to do is use Project 7 as a platform to show off our editing and filmmaking skills so people will come to our channel and watch our stuff and have our stuff blow up. So they were doing filmmaking, and if you remember at the same time, they were also doing Let's Playing like I was. They were trying to do commentary over gameplay, and they were trying to get attention doing that. Boy, this is loud as fuck. That's why I'm doing this. And I promoted their stuff. I constantly was giving them promotion, sending people their way. In the videos, I always had the promotion. And then all of a sudden, after a 4-episode run, I get told from them, oh, we're too busy to do the show anymore, and things have changed in our lives, and we've decided that we don't want to move forward with the show. Not once did they ever ask me for money whatsoever. Not once ever was I asked for money. If they had asked me for money, I would have said, okay, if this is really what you want, let's all sit down together, me, Rambo, Howard.
If this is really what you want, what were you going to do? What, you're going to have to guilt trip them into taking a pay cut when they were already making nothing? Like, what are you talking about? It was 4 episodes, like you said. You saw all the work that, well, you may have not seen all the work that went into it. But I'm sure you could conceive the effort that went into this. And if they were like, hey, man, we have things going on in our lives. There's some big changes being made. We'd like to get cut. We'd like to kind of get some payback on our investment. And then there you go. But instead, you were basically looking at it as it was a hindrance. Like, hey, I'm already doing you guys a favor. Now get back out there in the hot sun and get back to work. All right.
And you guys, and let's figure it out, and let's hash out money-wise what everyone's owed or whatever. That never happened. They never wanted that. So anything that you've heard to the contrary.
How do you know that, though? You didn't ask. Here's the thing about Phil. In this whole John Rambo Howard situation, like, it's always, oh, it's their fault because they didn't bring the problem to me. Where do you play in this? Where's your part to play in this equation? Do you not know how to read a room? Do you not know, or do you not understand that, hey, maybe every time I do this, that, and the third, they act a little differently, or they feel a certain type of way. Maybe I should go ahead and elaborate on that a little bit. These guys are your friends, so you should have been comfortable with asking them, hey, you guys kind of act funny when this type of situation comes up. Is something wrong? Is there something yada, yada, yada? And that could have started some conversation. But because these guys decided to hold their tongue, whether they did or not is irrelevant because we don't know. I wouldn't say irrelevant, but we don't know if that's the case or not because you're a liar. So we don't know if what you're saying is true or not. When they brought the problem up to you, you probably just waved it off, which I would guess that was the situation. And I would assume RespectThePact was just like, yo, we're tired of getting waved off. You know what I'm saying? He needs us more than we need him. They're not getting compensated for it. They're not getting any financial backing or getting paid for it. They were putting their own time and money in for equipment and things of that sort. You weren't doing that. So they could be like, hey, we could be taking this and moving on to another project, which is what they did, if I remember correctly. But why is it that people have to bring the problems to you? Why can't you just have a little bit of self-awareness? Why can't you perceive a situation and take yourself out of it, which is your problem? Why can't you just take yourself out of a situation and actually look at it as a whole and realize, okay, the problem might be me. Oh, you can't do that because it's never your fault. It's always somebody else's. And that's why you lost your friendship. And this project that you thought was going to get multiple seasons and shit. All right. Let's continue.
From Howard anyone is a blatant 100% fucking lie to make me look bad. Because probably they look bad because they are the ones who made the show end. So they make shit up, right, to make me look bad. Get the fuck out of here.
I've never heard anybody say that. I've never heard anybody once say, oh yeah, it's John and Howard's fault that Project 7 failed. I've never heard that. And last time I checked, they weren't the ones who tried to rehash it and made a bunch of money off it and then ran. If I remember correctly. I don't remember John and Howard getting a cut off that. Just saying. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure they didn't make any money off that. Off of it being relaunched. I'm just saying.
Shit that gets me. Oh, we have a nagging problem. We want money from Phil, but we don't ask him for it. But then years later, we'll make a video saying that we wanted it, and he never gave it to us, and we asked, and he said no. So what? Fuck you. No. You were a bitch. You didn't come to me like a man and say, oh...
Okay. Oh, boy. I'll be sensitive. Boy.
We changed our minds. We'd like money now, and now you're going to hold it against me years later and make me look bad? Fuck you. That's such pussy bullshit. That's like the complete opposite of how I am. If I have a problem or something's wrong, I will always speak up, right? And that's the problem.
Isn't that what got you fired from Machinima? Just saying.
But all the people who
Actually, isn't that what caused Leanna to leave too? Just saying.
over the years do shit like this, they never come to me, right? They never come to me and are honest with me. But then I'm the one at fault years later, right? After the fact that the show fell apart, 3 years later, we're going to complain that we wanted money. No, you never said anything. I can't give you money. We can't sit down and be professional about it unless you are professional, at which you weren't. So you can't hold that against me and make negative videos fucking about me on the internet and shit when that never happened. It literally never happened. But let's just make shit up to make Phil look bad, right? Get the fuck out of here. You know? Seriously, it's so dumb.
Wow.
Anyway, so let me add Infinite here. You know, and I will say this too.
Riveting.
You know, it's not like, honestly, like I didn't want to continue Project 7. I did. I actually did. I was intending to continue it. Even without Respect the Pact, I had actually contacted 2 different people who were known as professional video editors, and or like filmmakers who, actually one of them in Connecticut was someone who I had gone to high school with and was actually did like local commercials and stuff like that. And so they had some really good filmmaking experience. Now, were they top notch? No, but I wasn't looking for someone who was top notch to continue Project 7. But I had continued on looking for someone to continue the project, and I was willing to pay them. Now, let me think about it. Why would I have gone around looking for people to hire to continue the show if I wasn't willing to pay someone to make the show?
So when they came to you saying that they wanted to be paid, why didn't you offer them the money? Just saying. There's like 4 people that are saying that they wanted to sit down and talk to you about being compensated and throwing these guys a couple bucks so we can at least finish the first season out, and you're saying that never happened. I'm sorry, Phil, but you're outnumbered. Just saying. Unless Golden Colts and Brightside Viking were there that can corroborate this. Just saying.
The reason I didn't is because I heard from John Rambo that basically Howard was not interested in continuing the show anymore. Because from what I understand, you know, Howard was personal friends with Respect the Pact. Since Respect the Pact wasn't happy with how things went with the show, then it turned Howard off to continuing the show, yada, yada, yada. So now I'm going to start the show. It's just going to be me and Rambo, and now half the cast is gone. You know what I mean? It wouldn't have made any sense, and that's where the whole thing kind of fell apart. But, you know, it's hilarious how people will just make shit up.
Did you reach out to try to reconcile the situation, though? Or did you just be like, oh, you guys just try to screw me over. Fuck you guys. You can leave now. Is that what you did? So you didn't try to reconcile the situation at all? You were just like, oh, okay, you guys abandoned me. And you just let them go. And didn't even try to reach out to them. Even in the smallest way possible. Okay.
Years later to try to, you know, it's like I said. The truth of the whole matter, all right, is that the reason that in 2015 that drama video was made about me with Howard and Rambo was because that was their way of basically saying, we want nothing to do with Phil ever again. We're done with the whole YouTube thing being associated with Phil. Right now, there's a negative stigma with Phil. Keep in mind, 2015, that was the biggest negative year I ever had. That was when I got swatted, DDoS attacked, everything, okay? And they saw the way things were going, and they basically were like, you know, he moved across the country. We don't want to be involved with him anymore. So this is our way of doing it. Rather than actually just saying to me, we don't want to be involved anymore, right? Because it was always a lingering issue. Why does Phil not do anything with Rambo or Howard anymore, right? Why does he not do co-op with Rambo? What happened to Smart Guys? He had always promised it was coming back. That was their way of publicly saying, we want nothing to do with Phil anymore. Because basically they left it in a way that there was no way that it would ever continue. Oh, the lines are open if Phil wants to talk to us. Yeah, but guess what? The lines were open for 2 fucking years since I moved, and you guys never responded. So the lines have always been open. You're the ones who didn't respond, not me. So it wasn't me that was at fault. And you're acting like, oh, I never called you or nothing. I was the one initiating contact with them for 2 fucking years, and they were the ones ignoring me. So no, everything that they said in that regard was a complete and blatant fucking lie. And to me, when I see that video, that is them in a way that's not direct, because once again, they never did anything direct negative to me, because God forbid that they man up. But that's the way of them saying, we want nothing to do with Phil at all moving forward. Let's make up a bunch of shit or twist a bunch of shit to make him sound bad, because everyone hates him now anyway on the internet. So let's make him look like the villain so everyone will believe it, and we'll just be washing our hands of the whole situation, and we never have to deal with him ever again. And you know what? Look what's happened. Literally, no one bugs them anymore. Nothing. It's all, they're completely washed. The hands are clean, right? And so that's exactly what the video did. Of course, at the expense of me looking bad and having to take more hits and looking bad publicly and all that shit. You know, it just gets to the point where it's like, come on. But you know what?
He plays a good victim. I'll give him that. He plays a damn good victim. He's not necessarily compelling, but, you know, it is what it is. We all have our strengths, I suppose.
It is what it is. That's the way they wanted it. That's the way they got it, right? And it sucks because that was a friendship, especially with Rambo, that I felt was a close friendship that I never wanted to lose. And he actively chose to do that, not me. It was all on him.
Friendship must have not have meant that much to you if you guys let this little bit of money come in between you. And if you're supposed to be the bigger man about it, you know, they're all bitches and pussies and shit. If you were the bigger man, you should have been like, hey, I'm going to reach out to you guys and let's see if we can actually just hash this out. Even if the business aspects of it doesn't work, I would prefer to preserve what we have, you know, as a friendship. A man would have done that. He wouldn't be sitting on his couch fighting gout and taxes and whatever other bullshit problem that you have, crying about these guys being bitches and pussies and not being real men, and while he's begging to his viewership for money. I'm just saying.
He ignored me. He's the one who had the pent-up frustrations and never voiced them. And, you know, to go about the way that he did it, to go about it that way, was him saying, fuck it, I never want to have anything to do with you again. That was their choice. Their choice, not mine, okay?
But did they say that, though? That's what I'm saying. I understand how you want to spin it to make yourself look like the victim, but did they actually say that to you, though?
Alright, I see negative trolls, so let's get rid of them. Goodbye, goodbye. Here's someone who...
So much for the First Amendment, right?
Who didn't even purchase their subscription. He got gifted it as being a troll. Goodbye.
Wait a second. So, just because he was gifted a subscription, you were like, fuck you, I'm going to ban you anyway because I already have your money, right? Thanks for the money, dummies. Gotcha. Thanks, Phil. Hopefully Storm Brunel picks that up one day.
Gone for good. Alright. No, I agree. See, Ornites is right. He says they made a move cutting you out of anything to do with them because it was bad for them. I actually agree. That's actually what I think happened. I think what they saw was that since I moved from Connecticut to Washington, now keep in mind this was years ago, things is much different now.
What is this? Is this like Leafy, Keemstar, and Grade A, Under A all over again? Stop. You said it themselves that they didn't have a strong enough presence on YouTube. So it wasn't like they were being affected by your bullshit. If anything, those guys were still loved and respected. You're the one who slowly but surely went down the shitter with that toilet juice or whatever that is you keep saying.
But they saw back then, right? They saw the negativity and shit that was happening to me, and they were like, "Oh fuck, we don't want to get swatted. We don't want to get fucking DDoSed. We don't want to get doxxed constantly. We don't want to be part of all this negative shit that's happening to Phil. And let's face it, we're not doing anything with him anymore anyway. We want to be safe, so we're going to wash our hands of him and make this video, you know, and say to the end of it." And I think that's what it was. They thought, much like...
You mean the original video that you took down, right? And then they had to re-upload it to like a file sharing site, and that's how everybody has it now. So you did squash the first video. Let's just put that out there because you're not going to say that. You're not going to tell the truth on that part. Just making sure. You did get that first video taken down. So, just saying.
Other businesses who don't want to associate with me, that they would be cleaner and safer if they just basically said, let's end it like this by doing this video, rather than talking to me about it, right? And then me publicly saying to everyone, well, I had a conversation with Rambo and Howard, and they decided that they don't want to be friends anymore, because that's just going to cause more drama. Instead, do it...
Wait. So you wanted them to go through you, and you break the story, or you basically tell what happened, and then you spin it to make them look like assholes, and you look like the victim. That's essentially what he's saying here. He's saying that they should have came to me and then I'll publicly go out there, spin the story the way I want to spin it to make myself look like the victim. And these guys are being bullies and ganging up on poor little Phil. And not only do I get the sympathy, but I'll get the money. And I get to use you two guys as scapegoats because you guys aren't my real friends anyway if you're not going to let me benefit off of your hard work. Excuse me. Sounds about right to me.
That way, and boom, then it just cuts the cord, right? And now, of course, I look like the villain. Again, who cares because I already look like the villain. So they did what they did. They did what they did. It sucks. It sucks, but it's life. I got to deal with it and move on, right? Bob Dickley did a $2 tip and says, Rambo never seemed to be the type who would make shit up and make people look bad, especially a former good friend. I don't think either side's being completely honest. I can say this. What I can say is this. I never said that stuff that was said, that they said was wrong, was incorrect.
Ooh, okay, let's bring that back. I just want to make sure, because this way I'm not shitting on you for no reason, Phil.
Bob Dickley did a $2 tip and says, Rambo never seemed to be the type who would make shit up and make people look bad, especially a former good friend. I don't think either side's being completely honest. I can say this. What I can say is this. I never said that stuff that was said, that they said was wrong, was incorrect. What I said was they never told me. There's a difference between literally lying, all right, literally 100% lying, okay, versus, oh, this was an issue that always existed, but I never publicly talked about it with.
But a few minutes ago, you just called them liars for not approaching you about, hey, these guys would like some financial compensation, which is what you just said that they had said, and you also just said that wasn't a lie. You were saying it wasn't brought to you. So you acknowledge that they did say that. It's just you're having select memory about it being brought to you. So you're getting caught up in your own lie, basically, twice. Okay.
Phil, that's the difference. Yes, maybe there were always underlying issues, but you can't have that hold against someone if you don't tell them, right? If something someone does is annoying to you and you never tell them, how would they ever know? If someone is mistreating you...
People tell you that you're snorting, you're belching, and all that extra stuff is disgusting as shit, and you still do it. All day. And you ban those people, or you've been known to silence those people who say those things to you. People call you out for mistreating the people in your chat, your viewership, your sponsors, even your whales, and you still do it. And say, fuck those haters. So, in truth, the detractor community brings up shit to you all the time, and you just ignore it. People in your own community bring up concerns to you all the time, and you just ignore it. Matter of fact, the last time you ignored it, somebody got doxxed. Maybe it's just not worth bringing it up to you then. Just saying.
Constantly, but it's not like they're running and punching you in the face, which you would know is wrong. But if there's some kind of mistreatment that you feel is wrong, you have to tell them so they can remedy the situation. You can't hold it inside.
How have you been doing that? How are you remedying the situation? Give me some insight. Help me out here. Give me some understanding. Clarify how the problems that you have up to this very day that are brought to you by people in your own community is not being remedied. Instead, threads are being made and then they're taken down after like 2 days. Just saying.
For fucking years and years, and then magically understand that someone's gonna somehow magically know something's wrong, and that's what happened in this situation. Was that people held in these negative feelings, right? They weren't happy with Project 7 because they wanted to get paid, but they never asked me for the money, and I was told up front they didn't want money. So how am I supposed to magically know 4 episodes in now that they want money? You know what I mean? And that's how it always was.
How believable does this really sound to any of you guys? I mean, I'm serious. Like, does this make sense? I want you guys to put yourselves in a situation. It's going to be hard to put yourself in Phil's situation, but try it. To where you have this project that's certainly way over his head. It was probably way over all of their heads. As in its scope and what they were hoping to do with it. But either way, they tried. You can't hold it against a man for trying. But as it progressively goes on and on and on, and it's taking way more time, not only in, like I said, the filming, preparation, planning, scening, doing the scenes and things of that sort, but on Phil's end for writing the script with John and Howard and getting things working out and trying to get jokes together or whatever the script writing process goes. And then the actual filming itself, and then multiple takes and things of that sort. Are you telling me you weren't smart enough to come to the realization that, wow, this is really taking a lot of time? I should probably sit down with these guys and talk to them and be like, hey, that previous arrangement we had at the very beginning of this, I'm starting to think that maybe there should be some revising on that. Especially if they want to complete the actual season itself. Or the series. I'm just saying.
It says, Rambo never seemed to be the type who would make shit up and make people look bad, especially a former good friend. I don't think either side's being completely honest. I can say this. What I can say is this. I never said that stuff that was said, that they said was wrong, was incorrect. What I said was they never told me. There's a difference between literally lying. All right, literally 100% lying. Okay? Versus, oh, this was an issue that always existed, but I never publicly talked about it with Phil. That's the difference. Yes, maybe there were always underlying issues, but you can't have that hold against someone if you don't tell them, right? If something someone does is annoying to you and you never tell them, how would they ever know? If someone is mistreating you constantly, but it's not like they're running and punching you in the face, which you would know is wrong, but if there's some kind of mistreatment that you feel is wrong, you have to tell them so they can remedy the situation. You can't hold it inside for fucking years and years and then magically understand that someone's going to somehow magically know something's wrong. And that's what happened in this situation, was that people held in these negative feelings, right? They weren't happy with Project 7 because they wanted to get paid, but they never asked me for the money, and I was told up front they didn't want money. So how am I supposed to magically know 4 episodes in now that they want money?
You could have asked.
You know what I mean? And that's how it always was. I never, literally until I moved, I never had a negative experience with any of those guys. Yet then I move, and then all this shit comes out magically. It's like, huh? It's almost like they were waiting. They didn't want to talk about it in person because they were afraid of the negative consequences because I was the YouTuber with the popularity.
So you're saying that they were scared that you, the YouTuber with all the popularity, would send your wolves after them if they disagreed with you publicly. So basically you're admitting that if they had came out against you, you could have and might have sent the wolves against them. You would have sent your fan base against these two guys that are supposed to be your friends if they had came out against you publicly and possibly made you look bad. That's what you're saying right here when you say that. That's how one could interpret it. I hope you understand that. You probably don't. Because you're just keeping it real. Okay.
That, like, I would turn it against them or something. Oh, they were greedy and they stopped Project 7 because they wanted money. No! It would have been the complete opposite. I was always upfront. I mean, honestly, Rambo...
I mean what?
Well, I would be very surprised if he wasn't honest with you guys about, you know, how nice of a relationship we had, friendly-wise, but also business-wise, that I would pay him more in some cases than what he was owed for some of the work that he put in on my videos and stuff. I was always nice to them. Whenever we went on travel, I would pay for it up front. Like, that's what I mean. Like, I was always...
Keep in mind, though, too, and as generous as that is, you do realize that you couldn't drive because of your back. They were the ones who was lugging around all your equipment. They were sitting there doing the filming and whatnot. So essentially, they were doing all the work while you could be the star of your little show. So is that not equal exchange? Is that not even fair exchange? If you want to, put it out like that. Just saying.
As giving and generous as I possibly could fucking be whenever I was asked to be. So for them to come out years later and say that
whenever you were asked to be, that's not necessarily how generosity works. You do it because you feel that it should be done. You do it out of the graces of your own heart. You don't do it because you're asked to do it. Yeah, I'm sure, like, for example, the collection dish at church. I'm sure that when it's passed around, it's like, hey, it's helpful to give to those who are less fortunate. But they don't tell you how much. So you just give what you can, and you do it because it's the right thing to do, not because you're being asked to. That was probably a bad example, but I think you guys know what I mean.
I was greedy and not generous. It's like, huh? Like, what? Sorry that I didn't keep a voucher of all the shit that I ever spent on and I paid you guys to show the public to defend myself and shit. It's just so ridiculous, really. So fucking ridiculous, man. Anyway, I think I'm done talking about this subject at this point. It's already, the dead horse has been beaten for 2.5 years. I don't know why we're still bringing it up. Shout out to Captain Caveman, who said, please use your points to change out that horrid turtleneck. And did the caffeine and the shampoo work? I have no idea. I didn't really feel anything after I washed with that, so. And Mosales did a bunch of cheers, said, stop bringing up the negative past. All right, fine. Steve of House did a 25-bit cheer. He says, I make my living running a video production company. If you're ever in New York City and need anything, let me know. Well, sadly, I'm on the West Coast, and I plan to stay here for the rest of my life, hopefully. So, you know,
Are you that scared to go back home? You do realize, Phil, that your parents are getting up there in age, and I'm being very serious now when I say this. So, disclaimer. You do realize that your family is getting up there. Your parents, especially, are getting up there in age. You don't have any siblings, so you, at least as far as I know, I'm pretty sure you're the only child. So, it would be expected when they get too old that you're going to have to go back home to take care of them. Or you could go through the painstaking and as well as extremely expensive task of flying them over there to you. That's the first thing. Second thing, let's say, sadly, if they pass away and whatnot there, you do realize that you have to fly back to Connecticut to at least take care of some of their affairs. You can't do everything over the phone or through email. You're going to have to go over there. Like, for example, funeral arrangements. As their son and only surviving child, it might be, I don't know, your responsibility to go over there and do that. As well as the expediting of their house and their belongings, whether you're going to keep it, whether you're going to sell it, whether you're going to give it, go ahead and send it off to other family members, certain things like that. And to fulfill your financial obligations, you would have to put their house up if you're not going to keep it. But then again, you won't even go over there to take care of your own condo. I would assume your parents' house is paid for. At least one could hope. So there's that. So you have a bunch of responsibilities in going back home eventually. And that would probably take a while. So it's not a matter of you going over there and getting that done in a week and flying home. If you were lucky, maybe. But you might be there for a month, maybe longer. So, yeah. And what is it that's got you so scared that you don't want to go back home? It's home. I'm not saying you have to move back. Everybody says that. You don't have to necessarily move back. You have property there. You have roots there. But that doesn't necessarily mean you don't have to go back if you don't want to. You know what I'm saying? But what makes you think you're so much safer on the West Coast? If you're scared of confronting your past, that's one thing. But then again, some of your past lives over there on the West Coast too. And I haven't seen you go to a Wednesday night fights. I haven't seen you go to a North Cal or South Cal regionals. Granted, you're not a pro player anymore, if one can even say you ever were. But so you have just as many guys who don't look at you as a problem, but would be quick to laugh at your ass over there on the West. You can only sit in that house for so long. Well, I might be wrong. You could probably sit in that house indefinitely if you want. It doesn't look like you've gotten much sun lately, and you've been sick even to this day, if I remember correctly. I'm recording this on the 30th, and I think you're still sick, because I think you canceled one of your streams, if not both. So, yeah. Things are working great for you, Phil. They're working real good. So, you think all the problems are over there in the East. You got just as much problems over there on the West, too. Anyway, DSP News.
I guess that opportunity is done. Plus, let's face it, now I'm more of a live streamer than anything else, quite frankly.
So that's your excuse?
This is my forte at this point.
Excuse you,
and
asshole.
I don't plan on changing anytime soon. I think this is what I'm going to focus on.
So you're going to put all your eggs in one basket again. So you're essentially going to do what you did with YouTube as you're going to do with Twitch until you get phased out, which will happen eventually. Okay, so we're just making the same mistake, just on a different platform. Very good.
The whole era of me looking to do edited videos and stuff like that, creative projects, even if it blew up on YouTube, it would get fucking demonetized and stupid shit anyway, so it's not even worth it anymore. Sadly, that era of YouTube is a bike.
So you're so scared, so you expect to fail that you're just too scared to try. Gotcha. No problem.
Go on era, I hate to say it. Ballsy Fred did a 25-inch chair, says, did I ever think about a hip-hop album where people actually buy albums? No, I am not a musician. And King of Hypocrisy, Once again, continuing on with the negativity, says, Howard said you ignored all his texts that he sent you after you moved and you never responded to them. Howard didn't send me any texts after I moved. If he did, it must have...
What's wrong, Phil? Call him a liar. You were getting ready to. So go ahead and just call him a liar. If what you say is dead-ass honest, call him out. I'm just saying, he's not really your friend anyway, Phil. Remember? You said in a previous video that he was more like an associate. So, what are you scared of? What are you worried about? What need do you have to hold back? It's not like it's public interest or anything. You put other people's information out for your own benefit or to prove a point for yourself before. Why should this situation be any different? Just saying.
Been like one? Seriously? Or he had the wrong number. Because I can tell you right now, and this is the truth, I never really had a close relationship with Howard. That's the truth. Howard was like real close friends with John.
Told you.
I was always real close friends with John, and if we were going to do something with Howard, it would be through John. So like, oh, we're going to do something today. Gee, you think Howard wants to join us? John would call Howard. It wouldn't be like me. Same thing. John would tell me if Howard was having a get-together for Super Turbo or something, and then then we would get together that way. It wasn't like I almost never had direct contact with Howard on anything. He was kind of like the go-between. Like John was the go-between always. And Howard, I could not remember more than 2 times that Howard ever directly contacted me on anything. So for him to claim that he was texting me and I didn't respond, he's full of shit. And by the way, when Howard got engaged, I publicly contacted him and congratulated him. So it's not like I wasn't publicly doing stuff for him that was nice or whatever. So that's blatant fucking lie. Howard is mad because he feels like I owe him money for the Project 7 t-shirts, which I never made any profit on. He thinks that because he invested some money into them, that he should get his money back, even though I invested just as much money and I didn't get any money back, and we never broke even. I paid way more money because I was up front. I financed the making of those Project 7 t-shirts, which cost way more than what Howard ever gave me. But he's mad because he didn't make any profit, so he wants his money back. But he didn't ask for it before I moved. He talks about it 2 years later in a video.
But isn't it not true that when you were moving, you ran over to who held the shirts? I think John said he had it. It was in like John's basement or something, or maybe it was in Howard's or OJ. I can't remember who exactly said that had the shirts. But before you moved, you specifically asked, "Hey, I want the shirts for Project 7." And then weren't you giving those away in like some type of raffle or something, or it was like not a raffle. It was a Patreon perk or something. So you were getting something out of it. You may have not have broken even on what was, I don't know. I think John and Howard said it was like about $300 each, so $900. But you at least made something. You may have not have broken even, but you at least made something. Just saying.
That's why he never got his money back. If he had asked about it when I was moving, I would have said, here, if you're really disgruntled, just take the money and be with it and just leave me alone. But he didn't.
Is that what you would say to a friend of yours who was like, hey, man, I really didn't want to take an L on that, on those shirts. Okay, well, hey, man, here's a couple of bucks. Get the fuck out of my face. That's basically what you said. So, yeah, he must not have meant anything to you. Jesus Christ. So did you just keep him around just so you could keep John close? I'm sorry, I don't want to make it sound like it was anything more than that, but that's what it kind of sounds like. Just wondering.
Do that again. Much like all the other shit that was pent up and negative, they held it in until they decided 2 years later to talk about it in a video instead of ever talking to me man to man about any of this shit. So.
Yeah.
Oh, Boulder said, no, have you bought a hip-hop album? No. I don't think I've ever bought a hip-hop album. Not that I can remember. I've owned albums that had hip-hop music on them. Like a movie soundtrack would have a mix of like rock and hip-hop and stuff like that. I don't think I've ever outright bought a hip-hop album, no. And during the college years when I was listening to rap, it was my friend who had all the albums because he was the only one who had a car. Yeah. Yep, yeah, I've never bought a hip-hop album, nope. Jay Kramer says, yeah, but it's your word against theirs. Of course it is. And that's the thing is, no, I doubt that either side recorded conversations, documented shit. Of course, the truth of the matter is, and this is the absolute truth, I probably could go back in my emails and find the original emails that I actually got from...
So, yeah, neither side could record conversation, probably recorded conversations or kept any type of documentation of any of this, but in truth, I could probably go back into my emails and find, emails that I sent out. Oh, okay, Phil. So you're saying that they probably don't have anything, but you have at least something. Gotcha.
Respect the Pact, because I'm pretty sure that I've saved all my sent emails, and I'm pretty sure I have it in writing from them proving that upfront they didn't want any money. But why the fuck would I ever do that? Why?
So, if that's the case, wouldn't you have the emails from Machinima telling you to get rid of those videos? I'm sorry, Phil. I know I keep bringing that shit up, but I mean, if you're going to keep harping about it, you might as well prove it. And wouldn't you actually have some documentation too from this lawyer saying that he was able to continue giving you all of, his tax services to you, even if you moved to Washington? So, I'm just saying, if you're implying that you have emails from 2011, then it's fair to say that you have those Machinima emails from about 2 years ago, and you probably have those. You have your tax emails from about 4 years ago. I don't think that's unreasonable. Just saying.
Why would I dig through my fucking emails from 2011? You know what I mean?
I don't know about you, but as it pertains to most email services, you would just type. There's a search bar. You type in whoever the sender is, which would be RespectThePact, and it would come up. It's really not this. Life is not that hard, Phil. At least not for you, anyway.
To prove something that doesn't fucking matter. I'm going to move forward positively. I'm going to focus on positive stuff. I'm not going to come back and dwell on this shit constantly. The only reason I'm bringing it up tonight.
Aren't you talking for 18 minutes at this point? Well, my video is longer than that, but at least 18 minutes on your time. So it must have meant something if you felt like drudging all this up.
Is because people asked about it and it came up.
Why didn't you just ignore the question? Then you've done that for other questions given to you, whether money was behind it or not. What makes this any different? Oh, because you still feel a certain type of way about it. Gotcha.
But I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna sit here and dwell on it constantly and bring it. I don't care anymore. I'm such a different person now from what I was back then. You know what I mean? I've grown and I've become way more mature. And hell, I've learned a lot about people who you can trust to be your friends and relationships. Trust me, if I ever have any kind of business relationship like that again, I'm putting shit in writing first, so we don't have this shit come back to bite us all in the ass later.
No, that's supposed to be the general concept of business anyway. Whether friend, foe, or anything in between, if anything that has to do with money in some type of way, shape, or form, that shit should be in writing. Just because it's not just to protect you, it's to protect them. It's not all about you. That's what the point of paperwork is. It's not just to protect you, it's to protect the other party. It's to protect all parties involved. Right? He's supposed to have a business degree. He should know this, right? I think. I don't know. Take a sip.
That's totally sure. Totally 100% something that I have learned is be careful who your friends are. Be careful what you do. All these things can always come back to bite you in the ass later. You gotta cover your ass. So now I've learned.
It took you to be 35 to come to that, or almost 36 to come to that conclusion? Well, they do have something called late bloomers, so I guess that's the case.
I mixed friendship with business without covering my butt. I paid for it. That shit will not be happening ever again.
Well, it's not like you have a lot of friends anyway now.
Never again. Oh, brother. Lick my sphincter, please. So sorry for bringing it back up, but do you ever see yourself reaching out to John? You guys had awesome chemistry. I think we would respond well. Guys, I've said this a million times. I'll say it again. All right? If there was any interest in either of those guys being friends with me, all right, they would have contacted me, responded to my repeated attempts to talk to them over the years, right, since I moved from Washington. The stuff that they said in that video was a lie. I never ignored their texts. I never ignored their calls. It never happened. It was them ignoring me. So if they were interested, they would have come out. Why on earth would I years later now try to reach out to them again, now that we haven't even spoken in how many years, right, about that? It's time to move on. That's the thing. People dwell on the past.
Well, here's the thing. You have known them longer than the time that you guys haven't been talking. So, does that not mean anything to you, Phil? Seriously. You haven't talked to these guys in 2.5 years. You've known them longer than that. So, I see what you're saying, Phil. All that time doesn't mean anything. They haven't been talking to me in these last 2.5 years where they could have provided me money and support, which means just more money. And so they're dead to me. Gotcha.
Really?
They publicly made me look like the bad guy, and they publicly disrespected me and whatnot, and that's the reason why they're dead to me now. I got you. I understand.
Love the videos you made with John. I'm never making a video with John ever again, period.
Wow.
Just accepting.
Wow.
It's never happening.
Oh my God.
You need to move on from the past and stop having these nostalgic feelings about things that are never going to come back. I understand there are people that are upset or disappointed, right? But that's life. That's what happens in life, is that you have to move on. Because if you dwell on the past, you'll just be depressed your whole fucking life that things will never be the same how they used to be. Okay?
You mean like how you feel about your little YouTube career? Or how you're just professional, and I use that term loosely, persona on the internet in general, how you're always trying to fix it, especially as of 2018, and you're kind of failing at that, but yet you're trying to revise your own history. Why are you bothering with it? Why can't you just accept it at face value and move forward? I'm just saying. I'm not calling you a hypocrite. It's just you happen to say shit that would make people think that you're a hypocrite.
Save That House to the 29-bit cheer says, very well said, Phil. I think we can all agree to leave it in the past and enjoy your awesome ride on Twitch. Yeah, that's the thing. I don't care about it anymore. Seriously, like, some people just can't get over it. They cannot get over it. Oh my God, Phil, you gotta do videos with Rambo. Dude, the last video I made with Rambo was in 2014, almost 4 years ago. It's time to move on. Like, come on, really? You can't move on yet? I mean, let's be real here. It's time to realize the past is the past, the future is the future. We're in a really positive mood right now. We're in a really positive place. Let's keep it where we are.
My bad, my correction. I said 2.5 years. They haven't been talking, but they haven't done anything together since they're in 4 years, but I think their falling out was like 2.5 years ago. So, my bad. My fault.
Okay. Lick My Sphincter, please. Trying to be a drama queen. Says, who is Review Tech USA? Why does he make videos about you? Why don't you ask him? Seriously, why don't you ask him why he makes videos about me? Because if you notice, I've never made a video about him, and I never will, because I don't give a fuck. I'm a gamer. I focus on gameplay and having fun with games. I don't focus on internet drama. All Rich does is focus on internet drama. So he constantly has to do whatever's the hottest new drama and stir up drama wherever he can, you know? So, if you're gonna make videos about me, he's gonna make videos about me. I really don't give a fuck. I don't pay attention to any of it.
Well, there you go with that. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. So, yeah. There's Phil basically putting the final nail in the coffin as it pertains to his particular relationship with John, Howard, OJ, and Respect the Pact. He thinks it's all about making videos, while other people are being like, hey, why don't you reach out to them and try to salvage your friendship? It's not about videos. It's not about you trying to profit off of them. Apparently Phil doesn't understand that, so that is what it is. Well, what are you going to do? Ladies and gentlemen, this was DSP News. Always late, never breaking, unreliable coverage that you can't count on. A GTG Network and Productions. This is GTG signing off. Take care of yourselves out there. End the broadcast.
Why the fuck you lying? Why you always lying? Oh my God. Stop fucking lying.